Captain Ta Kim looked out the window of the spacecraft. The stars shined bright against the black of space. After 3 years of travel, they had finally reached Alpha Centauri. "Captain, all systems are normal," said Mina, the ship's engineer. She checked the screens in front of her. Ta nodded. "Good. Prepare to orbit the moon. We'll start our survey in 1 hour." The mission was simple. Explore the moon of Alpha Centauri b, look for signs of water, and check if humans could one day live there. But Ta knew space was never simple. He had trained for 15 years for this moment. He was the first Korean American to leave a deep space mission. The ship, called Horizon, moved into orbit around the moon. It was smaller than Earth's moon, but had a thick atmosphere. Their scans showed water and breathable air. It was perfect, too perfect. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," said Juwoo, the science officer. "There's a signal coming from the surface." Ta walked over to Juwoo's station. "What kind of signal?" "I'm not sure. It's not random. It has a pattern." Juwoo pointed to the waves on his screen. "Sir, I think it's artificial." The crew fell silent. If the signal was artificial, it meant only one thing. They were not alone. "Send a message back," Ta ordered. "Use the standard first contact protocol." Juwoo sent the message, a simple series of prime numbers, the universal language of mathematics. They waited. 5 minutes later, they got a response. "Sir." Juwoo's eyes went wide. They answered, "And it's not just numbers. I think it's an invitation." The response showed a landing zone marked on their moon maps. Tai made his decision quickly. "Prepare the lander. Mina, Juwoo, you're with me. Dr. Suk, you stay on the ship. If we don't return in 24 hours, go back to Earth." Suk didn't like it but nodded. The small lander broke away from the horizon and headed to the moon's surface. As they got closer, they saw something that shouldn't be there, a structure. It was a smooth silver building that reflected the starlight. "That's impossible," Mina whispered. "Our scans didn't show any buildings." "It's using some kind of cloaking technology," Juwoo said. "Advanced, very advanced." They landed 100 meters from the structure. Ta put on his helmet and checked his oxygen level. "Stay alert," he told his team. "We don't know what we're walking into." They stepped onto the moon's surface. The gravity was lighter than Earth's, making each step feel like a small jump. They walked toward the silver building. Suddenly, a door opened in the seamless wall. Light poured out. "Should we go in?" asked Mina. Tay took a deep breath. "That's why we came all this way." They entered the building. Inside, the air was clean, and the temperature was perfect, like Earth. They took off their helmets. "Hello," Ta called out. His voice echoed. No answer. They walked deeper inside. The walls were covered with symbols that seemed to change when they looked directly at them. Then they felt it, a vibration under their feet. The floor began to glow. "Captain, I think we should leave," Juwoo said, his voice shaking. Before Tai could answer, a bright blue light surrounded them. It wasn't painful, but Tai couldn't move. "What's happening?" Mina cried out. The light grew brighter. Ta felt his mind stretching, like someone was looking through his memories. He tried to fight it but couldn't. The last thing he saw was a figure walking toward them, tall, with skin that shimmered like water under sunlight. Then everything went black. When Tai opened his eyes again, he was back on the horizon. Suk was looking down at him, her face worried. "You've been gone for 3 weeks, she said. "We found your lander empty. You just appeared on the ship an hour ago." Tai tried to remember what happened after the light, but his mind was blank. 3 weeks, he whispered. "What happened to us for 3 weeks?" But neither he nor his crew could remember. The only proof they had been gone was the mission clock and a strange small mark on Ta's arm that glowed faintly blue in the dark. 5 years had passed since the Alpha Centauri mission. Ta Kim now lived in a small house by the sea. The space agency had let him go after many doctors said his story about the missing 3 weeks was just in his head. Space madness, they called it. Ty didn't fight them. He took his money and left. Now he spent his days looking at the stars and wondering what really happened up there. The small mark on his arm still glowed blue at night. He had not shown it to the doctors. Some things were better kept secret. On a cold autumn night, Ty sat on his porch. The wind was strong, and dark clouds covered the moon. He sipped his tea and watched the waves crash against the rocks below. Then he saw it, a streak of light in the sky. Not a shooting star. It was too big, too fast, and it was heading straight for the beach near his house. The object hit the sand with a loud crash. Ty put down his cup and ran down the wooden steps to the beach. His heart raced. Was this what he had been waiting for? As he got closer, he saw it was a small ship, about the size of a car. It was silver, like the building on the moon. Smoke rose from its sides where the heat of entry had burned the metal. Suddenly, a section of the ship slid open. Ty stopped. He should run, call someone, get help. But his feet wouldn't move. A figure stepped out of the ship. In the dim light, Ty could see it was shaped like a human but taller. As it walked toward him, he saw it was a woman, or at least she looked like one. Her skin caught the moonlight and seemed to change colors slightly, like oil on water. She had high cheekbones and almond eyes. Her head was bald, with small raised ridges along her temples. She wore what looked like armor, plates of a dark metal covering her chest, arms, and legs. Symbols were carved into the armor, glowing with the same blue light as the mark on Ty's arm. The woman stopped a few steps away from him. She was at least 7 feet tall. Her eyes were completely black, but somehow warm. "Captain Ta Kim," she said. Her voice was deep and smooth, with a strange echo to it. "I have found you." Ty couldn't speak. How did she know his name? What did she want? "My name is Hannah," she continued. "I am a warrior scientist of the Da, and I have come a very long way." Ty found his voice. "Why are you here? What do you want from me?" Hannah turned and made a gesture toward the ship. Another figure emerged, much smaller. A boy, no more than 4 years old, walked out. He looked human in almost every way, with one exception. His skin had the same faint glow as Hannah's, though much less noticeable. He had black hair and dark eyes that looked exactly like Ta's. "Captain Ta Kim," Hannah said formally. "Meet your son." Ta felt his knees go weak. "My? What? That's not possible. I've never seen you before." The boy looked up at him with curious eyes. "His name is June," Hannah said. "And you have seen me before, Captain. On the moon of Alpha Centauri B. You just don't remember." The mark on Tata's arm began to burn and glow brighter. Memories flashed in his mind. The blue light, the tall figures, a room with strange machines. "During your missing 3 weeks," Hannah continued, "you were with us. Your genetic material was used in our program." "Program? What program?" Ty asked, still staring at the boy, at June. Hannah looked around, suddenly alert. "We don't have much time. They will have tracked our ship here." "Who? Who tracked you?" "My people," Hannah said. "The ones who want June. The ones who would use him as a weapon." She put her hand on the boy's shoulder. "He is special, Captain Kim. More special than you can imagine. And he is in danger. We both are." Tad looked at June again. The boy smiled. A simple, human smile that made Ta's heart ache. "What do you want from me?" Ty asked. "Help," Hannah said simply. "We need your help." Ty led Hannah and June to his house. His mind raced with questions. How could he have a son he didn't remember? Why were they running? Who was after them? "Sit down," he said, pointing to his couch. "You need to tell me everything." June looked around the room with wide eyes. He touched a book on the table, then the lamp, then the TV remote. Each time, the objects seemed to respond to him. The book's pages turned without being touched. The lamp dimmed, and the TV turned on. He is still learning to control it, Hannah said, gently taking the remote from Jum's hand. His abilities grow stronger each day. What abilities? Tai asked. What exactly is he? Hannah sat down with Jum on her lap. He is the first successful hybrid of Dai and human. Half you, half me. Ta shook his head. But how? And why? My people have studied humans for many years, Hannah explained. We found Earth centuries ago. We saw that humans had something special. Your minds are different from any species we have ever found. Different how? You dream. You create. You imagine things that don't exist, and then make them real. Hannah looked at June with soft eyes. My people are advanced in technology, but we lack the spark the humans have. June slid off Hannah's lap and walked to Ta. He looked up at him with dark, curious eyes. Then he reached out and touched Ta's hand. Ta gasped. Images flooded his mind. Stars, planets, strange cities with tall towers, and beings like Hannah walking among them. He saw labs with glowing equipment. He saw himself, lying on a table, asleep. June pulled his hand away. Father, he said. His voice was clear and sweet. He can share memories, Hannah said. He can also move things with his mind, change how machines work with just a touch, and feel what others feel. These are just the abilities we know of so far. Tai tried to process everything. Why did you make him? Hannah's face darkened. It was not my choice at first. I am a scientist in the DOT military. Our leaders ordered the program to create hybrids. They want to use children like June as weapons in our war. War? Against who? Another species from a distant system. We have fought them for centuries. Hannah looked down. I did not question the program until June was born. When I saw him, held him, everything changed. Tai watched as June picked up a pencil from the table. The pencil floated above his hand, then began to draw by itself on a piece of paper. I realized what we were doing was wrong, Hannah continued, using children this way. So I took June and ran. I stole a ship and came to find you. Why me? Why not just hide somewhere in your world? Because June needs both sides of his heritage to develop properly. And, she hesitated, because you have the right to know your son. Ta looked at what June had drawn, a perfect picture of Earth as seen from space. How many others like him are there? Tai asked. 12, Hannah said, all kept in military labs, all being trained to use their gifts as weapons. June was the first and the strongest. That's why they want him back so badly. Suddenly, June looked up at the ceiling. His eyes widened. They're coming, he said quietly. Hannah jumped to her feet. They'd found us already. We need to leave. Now. Who's coming? Tai asked, but he was already moving, grabbing his coat and keys. Da hunters, Hannah said. Elite soldiers sent to bring us back. They will kill you if you try to stop them. Ta looked at June, who now looked scared. Something protective woke inside him. Son or not, this was a child in danger. My car is outside, he said. But where can we go that's safe from people who can track you across the galaxy? Hannah's expression was grim. There is one person who might help us. Another human who knows about the Da. Who? Dr. Suk Park, Hannah said. She was on your ship. She has been in contact with my people for years. Tai was shocked. Suk. But she never said anything. Some secrets are too big to share, Hannah said. Even with friends. Ta's old car raced down the coastal road. Rain had started to fall, and the wipers swept back and forth across the windshield. June sat in the back seat, watching the raindrops with wonder. How do we find Suk? Tai asked, checking the rearview mirror for any signs of pursuit. I have her location, Hannah said. She held up a small device that looked like a smooth stone. It glowed with blue light and showed a map. She works at a place in the mountains, About 3 hours from here. Ta gripped the steering wheel tighter. All this time, she knew about your people. She never said anything, even after our mission. She couldn't, Hannah said. Your governments have known about us for decades, but they keep it secret from most people. A bright light suddenly flashed in the sky behind them. Hannah turned around, her face tight with worry. They're here, she said. The hunters have entered your atmosphere. Ta pressed harder on the gas pedal. The car sped up, but he knew they couldn't outrun a spaceship. What will they do? He asked. First, they will try to disable your vehicle, Hannah explained. Then they will take June and me back. You, she paused. You are not important to them. They will kill you if you resist. Ta looked at June in the mirror. The boy was now watching the sky, his small face serious. I can help, June said quietly. He placed his hand on the back of Ta's seat. Suddenly, the car's engine made a different sound. The dashboard lights flickered, then glowed brighter. The car shot forward with a speed it should not have been able to reach. What did he do? Ta asked, struggling to control the now much faster car. He improved your engine, Hannah said with a small smile. He can change machines with his touch. They drove for another hour, the rain getting heavier. June fell asleep in the back seat, his head resting against the window. Even asleep, his skin had a faint glow. Why did you really bring him to me? Ta asked Hannah. You could have hidden anywhere. Hannah was quiet for a moment. The hybrids need both human and Da influence to be stable. Without it, their powers can become dangerous. June needs you, Ta. He needs his human father. And the other children, the ones still in the labs. Without proper care, they will eventually become what my people want. Weapons. Hannah looked at her hands. That's why we need to save them too. But first, we need to keep June safe. A loud bang shook the car. Something had hit the road behind them. They're firing warning shots, Hannah said. They want us to stop. Ta saw lights ahead, a small gas station. We need to change vehicles. They can track this car now. He pulled into the gas station and parked behind the building. Wake up, June, Hannah said gently. We need to move quickly. The boy opened his eyes. He didn't look confused or scared, just alert. An old truck was parked nearby. Tag ran to it and tried the door. It was unlocked. Can you start it without keys? He asked June. The boy nodded and touched the steering wheel. The truck's engine came to life. As they pulled out of the gas station, a bright light illuminated the area. Above them, a ship hovered, sleek and silver, like a giant arrow. A beam of light shot down, scanning the ground. Down, Hannah shouted, pushing June to the floor of the truck. Ta drove as fast as he could, away from the main road and onto a dirt path that led into the forest. The trees would give them some cover. We can't outrun them forever, Ta said. How far are we from Suk? About 1 hour, Hannah replied, checking her device. But we may not have that long. June sat up and looked at Ta with serious eyes. I'm sorry they want to hurt you because of me. Tay reached back and squeezed the boy's hand. It's not your fault. None of this is your fault. In that moment, looking at the boy who was supposedly his son, Ta made his decision. No matter what happened, he would protect this child. We'll make it, he told June. I promise. The truck climbed the winding mountain road. Rain fell harder now, and thunder boomed overhead. The wipers struggled to keep the windshield clear. Turn left here, Hannah said, pointing to a dirt road that was almost hidden by trees. Tai turned the truck onto the rough path. Branches scraped against the sides as they drove deeper into the forest. Are you sure this is right? Tai asked. There's nothing out here. That's the point, Hannah replied. Your friend Suk works at a secret place. After 10 more minutes, they came to a tall fence with a gate. A sign read, Government property. No entry. Hannah held up her stone device. It blinked 3 times, Then the gate slowly opened by itself. "How did you do that?" Tai asked. "I didn't," said Hana. "They know we're here." As they drove through the gate, Tai saw cameras turning to follow them. At the end of the road stood a plain building that looked like a warehouse. "This is it?" Tai asked. "This doesn't look like a government facility. It's underground," Jum said suddenly. The boy had been quiet for a long time. "I can feel it. There's a lot more below." They parked the truck and walked to the building's door. Before they could knock, it opened. Suk Park stood there, wearing a white lab coat. Her hair was shorter than Tay remembered, and she looked more serious. "Ta," she said, her face showing no surprise. "I've been expecting you." She looked at Hana and nodded, as if they knew each other. Then her eyes fell on June. "So this is the hybrid child," she said. "Remarkable." "Suk," Ta said, "what is going on? How do you know about all this?" Suk motioned for them to follow her inside. "We need to get you below ground. Their ships can't scan through our shields once you're down there." Inside, the warehouse was empty except for a large elevator. They stepped in, and Suk pressed her hand against a screen. The elevator began to move down. "After our mission, I was recruited to a special division," Suk explained. "We study alien technology and monitor space for threats. We've known about the Da for 50 years. The elevator doors opened to reveal a massive underground complex. People in lab coats and military uniforms moved around. On large screens, Ta could see maps of the sky with moving dots that must be ships. "One of those is following us," Hana said, pointing to a red dot that was right above their location. Suk led them to a room with comfortable chairs and a table with food and water. "You'll be safe here for now," she said. "Our shields block their scanners." June walked around the room, touching the walls and looking at everything with curiosity. When he touched a computer screen, it flickered and showed different images. "His abilities are even stronger than we thought," Suk said, watching him. "How long have you known about the hybrid program?" Hana asked her. "We learned about it 3 years ago," Suk replied. "One of your scientists contacted us. But we didn't know Ta was involved until your ship landed." Tay took a drink of water. "So what do we do now? We can't hide here forever." Suk's face became serious. "No, you can't. The Da hunters have called for backup. More ships are coming. But we have a plan." "What plan?" Hana asked. "We've been developing our own technology based on what we've learned from the Da." Suk pressed a button, and one wall of the room became clear, like a window. Behind it was a large hangar. Inside sat a ship unlike anything Tai had seen before. It was smaller than the Horizon, but looked more advanced. "We built this," Suk said with pride. "It's faster than their ships and has weapons that can match theirs." Hana looked shocked. "This shouldn't be possible. Humans don't have this level of technology yet." "We had help," Suk said. She turned to Ta. "Tomorrow, you will fly this ship. You'll take Hana and June somewhere safe." "Me? I don't know how to fly that," Ta said. June walked over and took his hand. "I can help you," he said. "I understand how it works." Suk nodded. "The boy is right. With his abilities and your training, you can fly it." Suddenly, alarms began to sound. Red lights flashed. "What's happening?" Tai asked. Suk ran to a screen. "They found a way to scan through our shields," she said. "They know you're here." From above, they heard a loud boom. The ceiling shook and dust fell down. "They're attacking," Hana said, pulling June close to her. "We need to move now," Suk said urgently. "The ship isn't fully ready, but you have to leave immediately." Another boom shook the building harder. "Ta," Suk said, looking him in the eyes, "everything depends on keeping that boy safe. He's more important than you know." Suk led Ta, Hana, and June through a long tunnel. The walls shook as more explosions hit the facility above them. "This way," Suk said. "The ship is ready in Hangar B." They ran as fast as they could. June kept up well, moving with unusual speed for a child. "Who helped you build that ship?" Hannah asked as they ran. "No human could understand our technology so quickly." "You'll meet him soon," Suk replied, not slowing down. They reached a large metal door. Suk placed her hand on a scanner, and the door slid open. Inside was a massive room filled with ships, weapons, and strange devices Tai had never seen before. "What is all this?" Tai asked, looking around in amazement. A tall man in a military uniform walked toward them. His back was straight, and his face was stern. The name tag on his chest read General Kang. "Captain Kim," the general said with a nod. "Welcome to Humanity's Edge. I'm General Jin Kang." "We don't have time for introductions," Suk said. "The hunters are breaking through." General Kang pointed to the ship they had seen earlier. "It's fueled and ready to go. But first, there's someone you need to meet." From behind a large piece of equipment stepped another Dai. He looked like Hannah, but was older with deeper ridges on his face. He wore human clothes, a simple white shirt and black pants. "This is Minho," General Kang said. "He came to Earth 20 years ago." Hannah's eyes widened. "Minho, the lost scientist. We were told you died in an experiment." Minho smiled sadly. "That was a lie. I chose to leave when I learned what our leaders were planning." Another explosion shook the hangar, closer this time. "We need to hurry," Minho said. "Hannah, you were right to bring the boy here. He is the key to everything." "The key to what?" Tai asked. "To ending the war," Minho replied. "But not in the way our people think." Minho walked to June and knelt down to look him in the eyes. "You feel it, don't you? The connection to everything around you." June nodded. "I hear the machines. I feel the stars. Sometimes it's too much." "I know," Minho said kindly. "I've been helping the other children like you. 6 of them are safe now." "You've rescued other hybrids?" Hannah asked, surprised. "With help from our human friends," Minho said, standing up. "But the Da military has become more careful. The last 6 children are heavily guarded." General Kang stepped forward. "That's why we need your help, Captain Kim. You'll take this ship to the Da homeworld to rescue the remaining children." Tai was shocked. "Go to another planet? That's impossible. I'm not trained for that." "The ship has a star drive that can make the journey in days, not years," Suk explained. "And Jun will help you fly it." Minho touched a panel on the wall, and a map of stars appeared. "This is the route. The ship knows the way." A soldier ran into the hangar. "General, they breached the upper levels. We have 5 minutes at most." "Get them on the ship now," General Kang ordered. They ran to the ship. Up close, it was even more impressive, sleek and powerful, with strange markings on its hull. "These are Da symbols mixed with human writing," Hannah said, touching the ship. "Protection and speed." The door opened automatically when they approached. Inside, the ship was larger than it looked from outside. The control panels glowed with soft blue light. "Sit here," Suk told Tai, pointing to the pilot's chair. Tai sat down nervously. The controls were like nothing he had trained on. June climbed into the seat next to him. "Don't worry, Father. I can show you how." The boy placed his small hand on the panel. The ship hummed to life, and the controls reorganized themselves into something Tai could understand. "Amazing," Suk whispered. Minho gave Hannah a small device. "This has the locations of the safe houses where the other children are hidden. Find them after you rescue the others." "You're not coming with us?" Hannah asked. Minho shook his head. "My place is here, helping humans prepare. There is much more at stake than just this war." The hangar ceiling began to open, revealing the night sky. Rain poured in. "What does that mean?" Tai asked. "What's really going on here?" Minho looked grim. "The war between our people is just a distraction. There is another force controlling both sides. The children are the only ones who can stop it. Before Minho could explain more, a loud crash came from outside the hangar. The Da hunters had broken through. "Go now," General Kang shouted. Suk stepped back from the ship. "Remember what I taught you, Ta. Trust your instincts." The ship's door closed. Ta placed his hands on the controls, and with guidance from June, the ship lifted off the ground. "Hold on," Ta said to Hana and June. "This might be rough." The ship shot upward through the open hangar roof into the stormy night sky and toward the stars. The ship flew through space faster than anything Tai had ever seen. Stars looked like streaks of light outside the windows. June sat next to him, his small hands resting on the control panel. The boy seemed to be talking to the ship with his mind. "How long until we reach your world?" Tai asked Hana. 2 days, she said. "This ship is much faster than any DAG craft I've seen." Ta looked at the stars rushing by. "None of this makes sense. Why would your people and humans be fighting? Why make hybrid children?" Hana came and sat in a chair near him. "I don't know the full truth. I was told the hybrids were to help us win our war. But what Minho said about another force controlling both sides, I've heard whispers of this before." June suddenly turned to them. "I can show you," he said. "I can show you what Minho knows." The boy stood and walked to the center of the ship. He placed his hands on a round platform there. The lights in the ship dimmed, and a 3D image appeared in the air around them. It showed stars, planets, and 2 different colored lights spreading across space. "The blue lights are the Da," June explained. "The green are the Zell, the people we fight. Both started in different parts of the galaxy." The image changed, showing both colored lights spreading until they met. Then red lights appeared between them. "What are the red lights?" Tai asked. "The Yule," June said. The word sounded strange, older somehow. "They came when we started to fight." Hana looked shocked. "The Ancient Ones. They're just a legend, a story to scare children." "They're real," June said. "They feed on war. On fear and pain and anger. The more we fight, the stronger they get." The image showed the red lights growing brighter as the blue and green fought. "But what does this have to do with the hybrid children?" Tai asked. June changed the image again. Now it showed small purple lights appearing. "We are different," June said. "Humans and Dad together make something new, something the Yule can't control or feed on." Ta began to understand. So the hybrid program wasn't really for weapons. It was to create beings who could stop these. Yule? Minho knew, Hana said, her voice filled with awe. "He must have discovered this and started the hybrid program for this reason. But our military took control and twisted it." "Yes," Jun said. "Minho made the first plans. He wanted to save both peoples." The image disappeared, and the ship's lights returned to normal. Jun looked tired. He sat back in his chair and closed his eyes. "He needs to rest," Hana said, looking at Jun with concern. "Using his abilities like this takes much energy." Todd checked the ship's controls. They were still on course. He had so many questions, but he let Jun sleep. After a while, Hana spoke again. "I never knew the true purpose of my work. I thought I was helping to end a war, but I was just a tool." "We all were," Ta said. "But now we know the truth. If what Jun showed us is real, then these Yule are the true enemy," Hana said. "And the hybrid children are the only hope." A beeping sound came from the control panel. A red dot appeared on the map. "We're being followed," Ta said, checking the readings. "A Da ship." Hana looked at the screen. "It's a hunter ship, smaller than the one that attacked the base, but faster. Can we outrun it?" Ta asked. "I don't think so," Hana said. "It's built for speed." Jun opened his eyes. "They want to stop us from reaching the other children. What can we do?" Tai asked, looking at the weapons controls. He had no idea how to use them. Jun stood up and placed his hand on the panel again. "I can hide us," he said. The ship hummed with new energy. Outside, the stars seemed to bend around them. "What is he doing?" Ty asked. "He's bending light around the ship," Hannah said, watching in amazement. "Making us invisible." On the screen, the red dot moved past their location, continuing on the path they had been following. "It worked," Ta said. "They missed us." June removed his hand from the panel. He looked even more tired now. "You need to rest," Hannah told him gently. "There's something else you need to know," June said, his voice weak. "The other children, they're calling to me. They're waiting for us." "How do they know we're coming?" Ty asked. "Because they can feel me," June said. "And I can feel them. We're connected, all 12 of us. And when we're together—" "What happens when you're together?" Hannah asked. June looked up at his parents with serious eyes. "We become something new, something that can change everything." Hannah helped June to a small bed in the back of the ship. As she tucked him in, Ty thought about everything he had learned. His son was not just a boy. He was part of something much bigger, something that could change the fate of entire worlds. 2 days later, their ship approached a beautiful blue-green planet, the Da homeworld. It looked a lot like Earth, but with 2 small moons instead of 1 big one. "We should be careful," Hannah said. "The military base where they keep the children is heavily guarded." "How do we get in?" Ty asked. June, who had been quiet for most of the journey, spoke up. "We don't need to land there. The children aren't at the base anymore." Hannah looked surprised. "What? Where are they?" "They've been moved," Jum said. "I can feel them. They're somewhere else now." He closed his eyes. "They're on ships, 6 ships, heading toward Earth." Todd checked the ship's scanner. He's right. There are 6 Da warships on a direct course to Earth. Why would they take the children to Earth? Hannah wondered. "Because of me," Jones said sadly. "They know I'm the strongest. They want all the children together so they can control us." Ty made a quick decision. "We have to go back to Earth. We have to warn them." He turned the ship around and pushed the engines to maximum speed. Stars stretched into lines as they flew faster than light. "Will we make it in time?" Hannah asked. "I think so," Ta said. "This ship is faster than theirs. We should reach Earth before they do." Jun placed his hand on the control panel, and the ship went even faster. "I'm helping," he said. As they got closer to Earth, Tai tried to contact Suk and General Kang. At first, there was no answer. Then a voice came through, filled with static. "Captain Kim, is that you?" It was General Kang. "Yes, we're coming back to Earth. 6 Da warships are heading your way. They have the other hybrid children on board." "We know," General Kang said grimly. "Our sensors detected them an hour ago. They'll be here in 15 minutes. Where are you?" "About 20 minutes out," Tai replied. "We're coming as fast as we can." "We'll try to hold them off," General Kang said. "But hurry." When they reached Earth, the battle had already started. The 6 Da warships fired at Earth's defenses. Earth fought back with ships built from Da technology. Explosions lit up the space around the planet. "It's worse than I thought," Hannah said, looking at the scene. Ta flew their ship toward the fight. "We need to get to the children. If we can free them, maybe they can help us." A voice came through the communication system. "Ta, this is Suk. Can you hear me?" "I hear you," Tay responded. "Listen carefully," Suk said. "Minho thinks if we can get all the hybrid children together, they can create a shield that will protect Earth and block the Yule's influence. But you have to get June to the main Da ship." "That's suicide," Ta said. "How would we even get on board?" "Your ship has a cloaking ability," Suk reminded him, "like June used before, and we'll create a distraction." Suddenly, dozens of small Earth ships launched from the planet's surface. They attacked the Da warships from all directions. "Now's our chance," Ta said. "June, can you hide us again?" June nodded and touched the panel. The ship shimmered and disappeared from view. Ta flew carefully toward the largest Dai ship. They found a docking bay that was open for fighters to launch. He slipped their invisible ship inside and landed. "Ready?" he asked, looking at Hannah and June. They nodded. June looked scared but determined. They left their ship and moved through the Dai warship. Hannah led the way, knowing the layout. She wore her armor again, making her look like any other Dai soldier. "The children would be in the special quarters," she whispered. "This way." They avoided patrols and reached a large door. It was locked with a complex system. "I can open it," June said. He touched the panel, and the door slid open. Inside were 5 children, all looking like June, part human, part Dai. They sat in special chairs with wires connected to their heads. They looked tired and scared. "Who are you?" one of the children asked when they saw June. "I'm like you," June said. "I've come to help you." Tai and Hannah quickly removed the wires from the children. As soon as they were free, they gathered around June. "We felt you coming," a girl said. "We've been waiting." June took their hands and formed a circle. "We need to connect now," he said. "We need to show them what we can do." The 6 children closed their eyes. A soft purple light began to glow around them. Outside, the battle raged on. But inside that room, something new was being born, a power that neither the Dai nor the Wheel had expected. The purple light grew stronger around the 6 children. It flowed through their joined hands like water. Ta and Hannah watched in wonder. "What's happening?" Ta whispered. "They're connecting," Hannah replied. "But something's wrong. They need the others." June opened his eyes. "The other 6 children. We need them too. All 12 must be together." As if on cue, the ship shook violently. Alarms sounded throughout the corridors. "What was that?" Tai asked. Hannah checked a nearby screen. "Earth ships have damaged our engines. This ship is falling toward Earth." Another voice came over the communication system. "Minho." "Ta, Hannah, can you hear me? We have the other 6 children here at the base. The Dai transport carrying them was captured. You need to get to Earth now." "The ship is already falling," Ta said. "But we won't survive the crash." June looked at the other children. They nodded together, as if sharing a single thought. "We can protect you," June said, "but we need to get to an escape pod." They ran through the shaking ship. Dai soldiers were too busy trying to save the ship to stop them. They found the escape pods and climbed inside. Ta sealed the door and launched the pod away from the dying ship. Behind them, the Dai warship exploded in a ball of fire. The other 5 warships continued fighting, but Earth ships were now gaining the upper hand. The escape pod fell toward Earth, moving too fast. It would burn up in the atmosphere. "Hold on to each other," June told everyone. The 6 children joined hands again. The purple light surrounded the entire pod, creating a shield. The pod slowed down and glided toward the ground, landing gently at the edge of the secret base. General Kang, Suk, and Minho were waiting for them. Behind them stood 6 more children, the rest of the hybrids. "Hurry," Minho said. "We don't have much time." They ran inside the base. In the main room, the 6 new children were waiting. When all 12 saw each other, they smiled. It was as if they had known each other all their lives. The children formed a circle, holding hands. The purple light appeared again, stronger than before. It spread outward, filling the room, then the entire base, then beyond. "It's working," Minho said. "They're creating the shield." Outside, something strange was happening in space. A dark shadow appeared near Earth's moon, a tear in space itself. From it emerged a massive ship unlike any they had seen before. It was black and red, shaped like a giant hand reaching for Earth. "The Yule," Hannah whispered in fear. "They've come themselves." On the screens, they could see the remaining Dai ships stop fighting and turn toward the new threat. Earth ships did the same. For the first time, both sides fought together against the true enemy. But the Yule ship was too powerful. It absorbed their weapons' fire like it was nothing. It sent out waves of dark energy that disabled anything they hit. "They're too strong," General Kang said. "We can't stop them." Inside the circle of children, Jun spoke. His voice sounded different, older and wiser. "They want to talk to me," he said. "They're offering me power. They say they can make me a god." Ta stepped forward. "Jun, listen to me. You're my son. You're human as well as Da. Remember what that means." "What does it mean?" Jun asked, his eyes glowing purple. "It means you have choice," Ta said. "It means you have love. The Yule don't understand these things. That's why they fear you." Hana joined Ta. "Your father is right. You're not a weapon, Jun. You're the next step. You and the other children represent what we could become together." Jun looked at his parents. Then he looked at the other children. They all nodded together. "We understand now," they said in one voice. The purple light shot upward from the base, through the atmosphere, and into space. It surrounded the Yule ship and connected with it. On the screens, they could see the Yule ship stop its attack. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the ship began to change. The black parts turned purple. "What are they doing?" Suk asked. "They're not destroying the Yule," Minho explained with awe in his voice. "They're changing them, showing them another way." The light spread from the Yule ship to the Dai ships, and then to Earth's ships. It connected them all in a network of purple energy. In the room, Jun broke from the circle and walked to his parents. "It's done," he said. His voice was his own again. "We showed them what we are, what we all can be." "What did you show them?" Tai asked, kneeling to look his son in the eyes. "That fighting isn't the only way," Jun said simply. "That we can grow together instead of trying to destroy each other." Outside, the ships of all three species, human, Dai, and Whale, moved into a formation around Earth. Not to attack, but to protect. Hana placed her hand on Jun's shoulder. "What happens now?"